welcome back. I hope you enjoy your lunch. And this afternoon, we will have 2 teachers from junior high school and still 2 teachers from elementary school. And so I hope you can all enjoy the conference. And let me introduce Becky. And also, she's my dear roommate in this summer. Okay, let's welcome her.
Good afternoon, everyone. Okay, so this is our topic, and the so-called 3 towns here means mine in Kaohsiung, and Eric's in Tainan, and Betsy's in Wellington. So we will just, because we finished our hometown topic, so we think it will be a great topic to our presentation. Before I introduce the reading class, usually student won't have interest in reading so much words. So before that, I will just pick up some key words in the reading, and I search some pictures, and I show student picture first, and I will ask, what is this? I will do this as a warm-up and to enroll my students' attention. And then if they cannot understand some words, then you know which words they don't understand. I also use this as a test whether they understand these words or not. And then I will show them pictures, and I will read. If they can read a word, then I know they understand it. But if they can't, then I know that I will be just focus on these words better. And then students will have to look up the words in the reading, and they need to find out they need to match the words with the pictures, and then have a chance to walk around. They have a chance to walk around because each group have a different marker. I divide my class into 4 groups, and in 4 groups there are different students of different ability. And some students may be responsible for looking some detail, and some will be writing below each pictures. And then I will collect this worksheet, and I will ask students, what is this? Maybe they will, because you can see the one on the left side. Actually, my target word is camp, but maybe some student will write down some tree, chair. I think that's okay, and I will make some sentence like, is this camp? Is this a tree? Is there a tree? And something like that to just check their comprehension. Okay, this is the first thing I do with the observation chart. And I also revised it a little bit into introduce or as a review of the sentence pattern, linking verb like smell or look or just hear or something sound. And I will ask students to just write down the sentence patterns, use the sentence pattern we teach, and they have to observe the picture, and they write down the pattern we teach, and we will have some hint. For example, the boy looks cold, and the ABC group here means four different groups in the class. So I will pass the worksheet on the wall so students can do a little gallery walk. They just move around and to write the sentences. Sometimes they will copy other sentences, but when that happens, that's very obvious because you can see their mistakes are almost the same. Then you can correct them. Oh, I see you cover others' answer, and I will just show this sentence, and I will make other students to do the correction. Do you think it's right? Can you correct it? I will do something like that. Okay. And the next is the apps we use. It's ED puzzle. I think Emily have introduced this in the morning. So I will show you some of the work. Okay, I use this as a review of my lesson about linking verb. This ad that I get from the internet, and it is not so long, so I just play it here. Okay, stop here like this. I will ask, how does the woman feel? Okay, there's some options there, and I will firstly I would, when I show student this, I will just read the question myself, and when I do the second time, I will ask student come here and to read the question, and the other student will make choice, which is correct, and something like this. How does the woman feel? Okay, she feels happy. Okay, so continue. Okay, I also will put some Chinese just in case they don't get the meaning. So how does the man look like? A, he looks hungry. B, he looks like a cook. C, he looks like a prince. Okay, they'll make, I think the answer should be hungry. Yeah, some student will say he looks hungry. So, really? Okay, but I think the answer is this one. Sorry, I hit the wrong button. Okay, how does the woman feel now? Again, A, she feels fat. B, she feels like a queen. C, she feels surprised. I think I should put it like that. Disappointed, yeah. How does the drink taste? Yeah, the final question I will ask the student, what do you think about the drink? Yeah. So that's what we do. And we have several links there. And I can show you some of them. Yeah, this is my students present. I asked them to come to the front and read a question and the option. And because this is a real scenario, so their performance may not be so perfect. So just take a look.
How does the woman
What is fact? Fact. Yeah, fact. Okay. Okay, that's how we do it. Okay, and the second one is also not.
If you choose A, raise your hand. If you choose A, raise your hand.
Okay, but just asking like this. Which option you choose?
Down your hand. If you choose B, raise your hand. What is B? Looks hungry. B, looks hungry. And how about C? If you choose C, raise your hand.
Okay, just go like this. Okay. And also we have some activity like matching. I will put some. I use some vocabulary card, or word card, and I put verb and noun. And I will say, I will ask some students to come to the front, and I will read them some words, and they have to just pat the words, and then they get points, something like that. And then I will read a sentence, and they need to put the verb and the sentence together. Because, like for example, I would say, John goes to school, and the student have to get the goes to and school and put them together. Okay, that's a complete, almost a complete sentence. Okay, that's the key part of the go to and school, and the content words. Okay, and this is how we do it when we have this activity. And also I use StupidFlix, the one Eva just introduced this morning, and I have I asked my student to I show them this website, and I say you can do some self-introduction video, and you can choose your own music, and you can if you want to post it and share it with others. That's a good tool. But actually, this website it is closing. So maybe just you may not use it afterward, but still you can take a look at our students' work. Okay, this is another student's work. As you can see, this special effect you can choose from this website. So this is the activity we have in class, and the following we will have some. I will talk about some room meeting activity we have. Mainly we focus because this picture we took this picture on this first 3 classes of the room meeting, and students just cannot get just get the words. So when I play the video, you will see some students asking each other what happened or just what am I going to do now. So just okay. Sorry. This one.
So many tasty foods in Tatiana district. There is pork. Corn tastes good. Corn pop pop. Corn pop pop.
As you can see, we have doing a lot of repetitions, and we try to just point out the key words of the sentences. And what we ask students to do is that we give them pictures and they have a small bracket, and they have to check what we read. So the students have to listen and do the comprehension check. And we also want them to just produce something. For example, they have to write down when we teach about hometown. We find out we have 4 seasons, and we have some words related to this 4th season. And students have to write down the words when our just club founders say the words, and student has to write down the words on the blackboard. I think this is some sort of their weakness, because they are not able to respond so fast. Because when you say that, oh, like John, can you come here to write? I say just like Autumn, can you write some just salmon? And he doesn't know how to spell it. Maybe next time we can make an easier way, just to let him choose between the pictures. That would be easier. And also we focus on the 4 skills: listening, speaking, and writing, and also reading. Okay, thank you. And in this first part, we have students to write down some words, but this part I think is a little bit hard for them because they just first learn this word and they have to write down immediately. Just to write down immediately, that will be a little bit hard for them. And then second part, we will ask them to circle the words you hear, and the emphasized word we want to reinforce the word we teach. And this is the one we do. We give them a picture and they have to do the comprehension check. And then we also read a passage, and students have to listen carefully what I like or what our club partner like, and they have to just listen and check. Okay, and we have some chanting too. Just like I take an apple and I ask the student, how does the apple look? The apple looks red. How does the apple taste? And the student really, student's mouth is watering. They want to test the apple I bring. So if you bring some real objects, student will be very interested in whatever you take. Okay, and also because I want to keep my student awake, because my class is always in the afternoon, the first class in the afternoon, and I think they may need to move around because when we take pictures, I'm sure in Taiwan you have to take a lot of pictures, right? During the dinner, after the dinner, you will have a lot of poses. For example, you just use your face, you put it in the chin, and you put it here, your arm, to different poses. And then I would just making fun of this pose. And I ask students to just, the scenario is that when you go to see a doctor, you may tell the doctor, I have a headache, I have stomach, you have something like that. So I would review the word first, and I will ask students to walk as a group, and each group choose two actions, and they have to come to the front, and the other student has to guess which action they are doing, and they have to reply it in English. And if they are correct, they answer it correctly, they get 1 point, something like that. Okay. And okay, my reflection from our meetings. We have, I think it's 6 because we have one last week. And the observation I found from my students is that they are more willing to respond to our partner. Initially, if you call them to answer the question, they were just like, oh, why me? Me again? But after we have several online meetings, they will be just like, oh, I'm willing to. Or maybe they didn't raise their hand, but they will murmur their answers, in their seat. And as for me, I think that it is possible to use the minimum amounts of Chinese to just engage, just to start an English class. Also, I learned from some interesting lesson plan from our Facebook sharing. When I am running out of ideas, I will just go on the internet and search what other people do, and maybe ask, oh, this is funny, and this is interesting, and this is inspiring, and then maybe I can try to use this in my class. So, okay. So the teacher inquiry projects. I have multiple labels of English ability students, and I want them to just, if you cannot answer the test, if you can get higher score in your test, but at least you have to listen, you can understand what I'm talking about, or you can just at least respond minimally to just the foreigner or someone who is talking to you in English. That's my goal. And I think I will ask students to do the 2 things. Firstly, I want them to keep track of their learning. So I give, in the beginning of the class, I give each of them a student journal, a notebook, something like a notebook. And then firstly, I want them to form a good habit. And I will ask them to write down what we have done today. But usually it's a little bit difficult because students didn't know why you give me this. It is like another assignment. But you have to just tell them that after each class, we will just write down what we have did in this class. And you can start small. You don't need to teach a lot. That's my spirit, because you don't have time to go through all of what you go through all of the material you did. Okay. And I also put our online meeting materials in it. And students have notes to review. Okay, so let me go to that. Okay, this is the final. So I increased my use of the English and I lowered the use of the Chinese. And I think when I use 70% of English in my class, and 50% of my students encounter some difficulty, and 30% will have need some help, and 20% of them cannot follow. But this is the beginning stage. When I'm doing this, I think it is the beginning stage, and I think they are getting more and more familiar with the sound and the language when we are just teaching them in this way. So I think they are making progress. Yeah. So that's all of my presentation. Thank you for your attention.
Okay, thank you, Becky. So we teachers always don't have enough time to talk. Yeah, we have a lot to share. And true, because for older students, I think they need more fancy ways and materials to learn. And also, I really like the pose instruction for just body parts. Taiwanese teacher may know that, but our partners do know that. When we take pictures, we will like, oh, my head hurts. Oh, my arm hurts. Oh, here I'm so hurt. Yeah, just do the pose to do the action. That's very creative. Thank you. All right. So next we will have Eric to share his experience. Let's welcome him.
Good afternoon. I'm Eric from Dongyan Junior High School. I'm teaching in Tainan, and I have been teaching here for 5 years. And now as you can see, this picture come out again. But if you look at it carefully, you will see that everyone's gesture is quite different, right? And this is my class. Yeah, they're cute, I know. Only in photos. This is the flag of Bellingham City. I like it because it has many meanings in it. If you go to visit Bellingham, you will see this flag everywhere. And this is our school flag. And I have never thought of going so far by learning and teaching English. And this is a very precious experience I have ever had. So if you got a chance to study in WWU or join this program, hey, you must do, okay? This is the only chance that you can show you know English. Okay, my speech will be separated into 4 parts. First, I will show you the wordless picture book strategy I learned from WWU. And also I will teach you how to use the app clickers. And third, I will show you what we did with our club partner Betsy. And also we did many lesson plans with Becky and Betsy in the USA. And the last part also is my teacher inquiry. Okay, first of all, I will show you how to do the wordless book, picture book strategy. And anyway, let's do the video first. Textbook and setting. Okay. The setting is pretty easy. All you have to prepare is a screen, projector with computer, and a wordless book. And later I will tell you how to choose a good wordless picture book. and I'll directly switch it to the first minute where I started to do the activity. Picture books. Lots of picture and a few words. Yes. Okay. How about all picture books? No words. Only pictures. Have you ever? In this part, I'm doing the warming up. I'm asking my students if they have ever read a wordless picture book. A few. I can say almost none, right? Now, every time when we talk about look at or read picture books or read storybooks, we will read books with words. But wordless books is very useful because you can force them to produce languages, to speak, to write. And this is my first time doing this in my class, and it's also from the class strategy. Yeah, I learned from you. And at first, my students are very nervous. They don't know what to say, and they don't know what I'm going to do. But after 7 minutes, they started to feel excited about it. Yeah. Okay, great. And 1, 2, go down the floor. And go to a great pencil. What else together? What else? This is a very beautiful castle, right? Oh. What did you see here? Try to read it. In this activity, you have to wait until they produce the language. Yeah, and we will take a lot of time doing the oral practicing. But after this, I will make them write. So you will see their paper on their desk. And it takes me about 30 minutes to do the warming up, and then we can then do the pages. I print the book into pages, and each student will get 2 pages. And they will use the grammar they are learning now to create a story on our own. So now, I will directly show you what we have done with this story, but you will see many grammatical mistakes or spelling mistakes, but don't worry, they're still students, right? Hi, we are class 903 from Dongyan Junior High School. Today we are going to read Journey with our own story. Okay. First, tell me who cares me.
The girl in the house doesn't know who cares her.
Tell me what the girl on the bed can do. I don't want the child is drinking.
Tell me what a girl with a child can do. Maybe the girl with a child can drove the door.
Nobody knows when I left, and so do I.
The girl on the video so pathetic.
Can you tell me where can the girl on the bottom go? I don't know why the guy into the castle import, and neither do the soldiers.
So as you can see, each of them will get 2 pages, and they will write down a sentence. In this unit, I do it twice. First time I'm doing the indirect questions. So you will listen to the sentence, for example, like, I don't know what the girl can do. So they will write down many sentences on this sentence pattern. The second one I do it recently. We are using the agree and disagree. also we're doing a prepositional phrase behind the nouns. Yeah. So with wordless picture book, you can create many kinds of stories on your own using the language you are teaching. Okay. And now this is how you can start to teach wordless picture book. First, you need a well-selected wordless picture book. I found this picture book Journey in Fairhaven, a very pretty bookstore. I bought it expensively. Yeah, because after I came back to Taiwan, I found I can find a series of this book. There are 3 books of these books, and it's quite cheap. You can buy it on the books.com.tw. Let's keep it secretly. Yeah, and you can find many wordless books on net. Yeah. The second, it will be better if it is huge, so you can show it to your class. However, you can scan it, right, and copy it for your student. But maybe you will get into problems by scanning it or copying it, but nobody knows what you're doing, right? And can we cut this off for the video? I don't know. Third, you have to prepare worksheets for students to write. Yeah. But what I have prepared is only a sheet of blank paper. Yeah. They can create what they want to say. First, words and phrases you are teaching. So, for example, even you are teaching the 7th grader, you can do this. They can say, what do you see? They can use single word or phrase. For example, a girl, right? I see, water, umbrella, soldiers, yeah. If you are teaching high-level students, for example, the 9th graders, they can create many sentences. Yeah. But don't forget to focus on the grammar sentence pattern you are teaching. The next part, the sentence patterns are ready, so I will ask them to open the textbook to the sentence pages we are now using. There are a couple of advantages by teaching this. Any level learners can enjoy with this activity. Yeah, and they can create a story on their own. They will feel, wow, if I create a story, I can tell English. I can tell a story in English. Okay, and the language is at appropriate level because you are only using the grammar sentence you are learning. Yeah. Students can compose lots of stories. Sometimes it's funny, sometimes maybe, students always naughty. Yeah, but you can correct them. Even though the stories are not making sense, but grammar works. True, right? Yeah, because sometimes they will copy others saying, but at least he or she is using the grammar. Students will ask for your support. If you are teaching alone, you are the only one person speaking in the classroom, they will feel bored. But in this way, they will ask you lots of questions. For example, teacher, can you tell me how to spell any word, right? And am I using it right? They will output by themselves, and they will be more motivated. Okay, the second part is I'm going to show you how you can create clickers apps. If you have your smartphone, you can scan the QR code here, and it will lead you to the App Store where you can find the app. And I will stop here for about 10 seconds. 10, 9. Oh, I see someone is scanning. Great. Are you going to do it, please? Or you can just go to your App Store or Google Play and type in clickers, you will find it. Okay, if you are using a computer, it will lead you to this page. This is its home page. And you can sign up. Yeah, you can use your Google account, okay? And now I will sign in. Please wait. go skip it. Don't waste time on it. Okay, it's a very simple app that after you install it in your phone, and you can go to the page and type in the question you need. And when you open up the app in your smartphone, the screen of your computer will show a question list, and students can see the question and you can answer, and you can ask them the question you need. And as you can see on the screen, every student is holding a QR code like paper. It's their answer sheet. And you can turn to make it an A or B or C or D. So you can scan their answers with your smartphone and you will show directly on the screen. You can tell who is right and who is wrong. You can correct them directly. It's a very useful app to do in your class. Okay, let's move on to our club meetings. We did our first meeting with Betsy in May. And basically we are exchanging the information about hometown and differences between Tainan and Bellingham. Yeah. Students and I were all very nervous to see Betsy. Yeah. But we have such a great time doing this club meeting. And while we are in the WW, for the 5 weeks, we composed many lesson plans that we are going to do after we go back to Taiwan. Yeah, so we have a lot of fun preparing our lesson plans in WW. And we also demo our first lesson plan in WW. Yeah. This is a pictorial input. Okay. And here is the cloud meeting apps I always use with Betsy. For example, this is Zoom that you see this morning. We are doing this with Angela. Yeah, it's very useful because you can share your screen. By some time, you can share your screen with your partner. And I always put many stuff on the Google Drive that Betsy can look at it. See? Technology works when technology is convenient when it works. Okay. And also use Gmail. And when we are doing a Zoom meeting, I will use Line because I can speak with Betsy secretly. Sometimes we need some tricks. We want to play some tricks on students, we will do the Line. Yeah. While we are doing the Zooming. Yeah. Okay. So as you can see here, we do the hometown with clickers. Everyone has their answer sheet. They're having fun holding it, just holding it, they're having fun. And this is Betsy introducing cherries and salmon, the food in Bellingham. And this is a very great one. We use sentence strip paragraph. We cut it into phrases, and students can remove and exchange the words or sentence in the paragraph, and they can share the paragraph with Betsy. After they finish the dialogue, they will come up and read out the dialogue for Betsy. And we create many funny stories with it. And we also do the TPR movement with food. For example, beef noodles. Yeah, students like TPRs, even though they are ninth graders, they are having so much fun doing TPR. So don't think that TPR is childish for your student. No, never. They love it, and they will do the movement after the class. Yeah. Every time they see you, hi, teacher, do you still remember beef noodles? Yeah. They like it. And after we do the TPR words, Betsy will ask them questions, and I made many answer sheets for them to choose from. And they can pick up the paper and show Betsy and read it out loud. Because sometimes when we are doing a Zoom meeting, the sound may not be clear, but at least Betsy can see the answer sheet with big words on it. And they work in group. Two in group, after they answer the question, they will change seats, so they will become very busy with it. Okay, about my teacher inquiries, my question is, what if I only speak English while managing my home group? We always want to speak or part-time English in English class, but how about we use English to manage our homeroom? So I'm trying this. And as you can see, my students are anxious about that. I don't know how you're talking about what. What did the teacher say? They will ask each other. And this is the stuff I use, the materials I use to record the inquiry. And I will show you the results first. Okay, I asked 20 questions and made my students to do the survey. Yeah, as you can see, many agree that they can understand teacher Eric said, and they take actions, right? Correct actions. But I think maybe because they are ninth graders, so they know more phrases and words. Yeah, and half of them feel relaxed while I'm using part-time English to manage my group. And also, about 30% of my students will do the translation. So many will wait until others do the translation. Yeah, and you can see some students, about 30% feel impatient if someone doesn't understand my sayings. They will get, oh, even this sentence you cannot understand, how come? Yeah, sometimes they will be mad or impatient with others. But most of them won't give me feedback or answer my question in English. They just do the movement, so I feel a little bit sad about that. If you want to know more, you can come to me. Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much, Eric. See, that's what teacher always need more time. Okay, so I really like his idea about to manage a class using English. I've never tried that. Maybe I can do that after this conference. All right.
Okay. Should I start?
So let's welcome Betsy from WW.
Hi everybody. Thank you for this wonderful conference. Happy to be here today. Okay. So I've already completed university, but I work also as an international researcher. And I often work with humanitarian projects, and often they use English language learning as part of their initiatives. And so this certificate helps me to be able to connect to people that I work with and help me do my research. So that's why I did the certificate, and I've had a wonderful time, particularly because of my wonderful teaching partners, Eric and Becky. And so, as you heard already, we did ours on hometowns mostly. So these were our 3 hometowns that we worked with. And Bellingham is a little bit bigger than 2 other schools, but it gave a nice variety of information. And I think also in the United States, we don't, there's not a lot of information about Taiwan. It's not as well-known a country as some other places, so I learned so much. And this is just a picture of Bellingham. You've probably seen some of this already because I'm at the end of the conference, but and here we are. So part of our teaching about the hometown was doing a bunch of maps, because just to place where Bellingham was, we also used globes, because sometimes they'll see it flat and then they'll see it round, which is a little more difficult. It was a big hit to show them pictures of Western Washington University with the deer. At Tianliao, Becky, we were joking that we don't have roosters on our campus, but we do have deer. Lots of roosters in Taiwan. This is another picture of our campus. It's a beautiful campus. This is all brick in the middle. Yeah, it's really pretty, huh? And a lot of students. It's a big university. And then here's my two cloud partners towns. We're in south of Taiwan, as you know. So my first 3 days were with Becky, and these are some pictures of her school and some of her students. That's the teacher's administrative office where I would sit in between classes, and probably the first morning there weren't very many students that came in to say hello to me, but by Friday afternoon it was crowded with everyone who wanted to come up and say, "Oh, hello Teacher Betsy, what are you doing? Can I look at your computer and can I see your pictures?" And so it was a great couple days. Next I'm going to be with Eric in his school, and I'm actually going to be there for a little while. I'll be there actually for 4 weeks, which will be really exciting. I get to really know those students. And here's some of them, and they all taken English names, and that's always kind of funny because some of them are not typical English names. So, and I actually just noticed that Luffy is a cartoon character, which I'm like, Luffy, and I figured it out when I got here who he was. So you see these, but we did our teaching online. There's a picture, and then these technologies are some of the ones that we've used, and it's been great for me because I think sometimes as a teacher or even a researcher, there's so much new technology coming out, you know, every week, every month, that unless you stop and think, oh, okay, I'm going to learn this new one, you miss out on stuff. So this is great for me for that. This is Eric's class, teaching online. So as you know, these are some of the variety of lesson plans that we did. And as Eric said, one of the funny things was the total physical response, which was beautiful. We also did hot dog. And in Eric's class, our dog Annie would occasionally come into the screen. So she would drink her out of her water bowl, and all the students would be like, "What's that? What's in the background?" So all the girls in Eric's class wanted me. He asked, "What do you want, Betsy? What do you want Teacher Betsy to bring?" They're like, "Bring Annie. Can you please bring Annie?" However, the boys in Becky's class said that they might want me to bring my niece Emily, who was home, who was in one of the lessons. So we had a great visit. This is we all one of the evenings went to the movies, and as you see, Heidi and the Prince were with us as well. So we had a great time. These are my amazing teachers. We gave a little conference while we were in Bellingham, similar to this one. So everyone's used to giving all our conferences. Had a great time. So thank you so much, Taiwan. I had a wonderful visit here. Amazing welcome to Taiwan. I'm so happy to be here for another month. And thank you to NTNU and Ministry of Education and everyone who's taken part in this. We've had a wonderful time. Thank you. 谢谢.
Thank you, Betsy. Thank you very much. All right, so I think Betsy's very nice and friendly. She just invited us to her house, and her house is so beautiful. And enjoy dinner together. I mean, this summer, yeah. And so this is for junior high school situation, and because Eric just teach 9th grader now, and Becky's for 8th grader, and so as Rex. Could you please raise your hands? Yeah, because we have some junior high school teachers here, right? So you want to know more about junior high school, you can go ask for them.